So overall, how did your experience on the jury go?
It was good. It was maybe longer than we would have liked, but it was certainly educational.
And you were the jury foreperson, correct?
Yes.
And how did they select you for that role?
Well, I didn't disagree.
Okay, but the judge asked you.
The judge said you will elect
Okay.
for a person.
Interesting.
And they'll fill out the verdict questionnaire and present it to the court. And I said I would do it, but if somebody else wanted to do it, I was certainly happy to let them, and nobody else wanted it.
Now, one thing that's interesting is, so you were involved in a federal civil trial. Now, often in criminal trials, whether they're state or federal, forepersons usually, sometimes they have a very hard job because obviously everyone needs to agree before a verdict can be rendered. And sometimes there's one holdout, or sometimes there's people who, are like smoking marijuana outside the door, or, people who just aren't willing to be cooperative. As the foreperson, did you find yourself, even though this was a civil trial, having to act as a disciplinarian in any sense, or,
No.
that's good.
No, there were 7 people on our jury, and they were all very engaged and responsible.
So what was the most challenging aspect of being the foreperson?
Honestly, I don't know that my job as a foreperson involved much more than filling out the form and handing it over. In theory, I was leading discussions.
Yeah.
In actuality, it was just kind of a natural ebb and flow conversation in the deliberation suite. So
Yeah.
it wasn't a huge job to be foreperson.
And also leaving that topic, one thing that you were saying earlier that I found really interesting was you said you have a master's in engineering and what else do you have a master's in?
Finance.
Finance. And there was an expert witness in your case, and you were kind of able to, I guess, examine the evidence they're presenting in a better manner than most people would be able to. And I'm not sure if you've ever read the book, but it's called A Civil Trial. So in that book, one of my professors at my law school, Professor Nesson, who teaches at Harvard Law now, he had a degree in mathematics, and one of the expert witnesses hired by this massive corporation was claiming, something about the levels of water toxicity, which the lawyer disproved mathematically. So in that case, the lawyer himself had the expertise. But in the jury room, did you talk about your doubts about the expert?
Well, the particular expert that I disagreed with his conclusions mostly. We didn't really depend on his testimony for our verdict, so it didn't really come
Interesting.
up. The 2 experts that we really discussed the most were more on the financial side. And I think one of them was just a stronger witness than the other.
Yeah.
He had done a lot more outside research and was very prepared on the stand.
Yeah.
And had very good answers to why exactly he had done what he did in his analysis.
And did becoming aware that, there's a monetary incentive for the experts, 1, was that new to you? And then 2, did that make you doubt their testimony a little?
Well, so really our biggest question in the trial I was on was determining damages.
Yeah.
And their 2 expert witnesses were wildly far apart on their assessment of damages. And some people in the jury were adamant about one, and some of them were like, well, but he's so far off this other guy, and it's like, well, okay, but I think they're both, they're presenting this to a client.
Yeah.
And, so we ended up somewhere in the middle, but it was, both of these guys are being paid by one side or the other.
Yeah.
And they're being paid quite a bit of money.
They're almost like legal mercenaries.
You know, they will both sit there and tell you that they're unbiased and,
Yeah.
you know, this is their own opinion, but it's an opinion they're being paid to produce for one side, so.
Yeah. And I guess one more question is, so this was your first experience on a jury,
Yes,
correct?
it was.
And had you had you previously gotten subpoenaed to be on jury duty and then tried to get out of it?
I have been previously subpoenaed. I never got to jury selection.
Okay.
I came and, you know, sat in the big room and watched the videos and then was excused.
Okay, that's what happened to me too.
Yeah.
Well, I'm a lawyer, so that's as soon as they found that out, they were like, okay, bye.
You know, I
Yeah.
was a little surprised in this case that with the Masters in Finance that
Yeah.
they didn't excuse me. But
And you thought the defense would have excused you, right?
I guess I
Yeah.
didn't know enough about it at the time to think
Okay.
which side would have, but.
And I guess my final question is, has this experience raised or lowered your perception of how American justice works? And also, well, it's a multifaceted question, whether serving on a jury is worthwhile.
I think it was worthwhile.
Okay.
It was certainly educational.
Yeah.
It was really my first experience in any courtroom. And I learned a lot about procedures and how things work. And I think when we did come to our verdict that we all agreed that that was as fair as we could be. And
Yeah.
I don't think anybody came out of there thinking we really messed this one up.
So you
They all
felt like
came out of
just-
there feeling
yeah.
like this is how it should have gone.
So American justice was actually justice
Yes.
this time.
Yes.
Well, that's great to hear. Well, thank you so much for your time.
All right. Thank
and
you.
Nice meeting you.